we used to come to Wakulla Springs to swim. And I always wanted to jump off this tower, but I had never had the guts to. Well, good morning. It's a brisk 57 degrees in Lake City right now, and we're getting ready to start day number 2. We're going to be traveling from Lake City all the way through Aucilla, down 10 a little bit, and then eventually into Wakulla. Wakulla Springs is one of the places I used to go when I was growing up in Tallahassee. I know that's a funny thing to say considering the Jeep behind me. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to be going for the second ride and trying to pull off 156 miles of trails. Get it
Watch the curve. Okay.
What was that?
Glad it's not dusty.
Well, welcome to Dusty day number 2. Yesterday finished off with a bang. Today we started off with a little bit of Interstate 10 as we rode out of Lake City. There's a whole lot more parts to the Panhandle Adventure Trail that run north of Interstate 10, but in order for us to do this in the 5 days that we have, we had to trim a couple pieces off here and there, but it'll still give you the general gist. This is a cool little area that we're riding through just off the interstate, heading south as we make our way to Wakulla Springs.
It is October 4th, 2022, and the temperature is right now probably in the low 60s. It feels wonderful.
Well, gone are the pine flatwoods. Say hello to the rolling hills of the central Panhandle of Florida. Hey, road dog, we're passing some pecan trees.
Dog and snake trails. Or maybe not a dog. That's a good woo. Good morning.
Feisty, aren't we? That's a little garter snake. Almost ran him over. Real small. Got some pretty coloration on him.
Yeah, he does.
Woo.
But he's feisty.
Look at that. Hello. And he pooped on me too.
He's feisty. Look at him.
And he's pooping too.
Did you find a friend? I'm glad he's pooping on you. You deserve to be pooped on. You were handling me like that, I'd poop on you too.
See?
He doesn't
want to play with you.
See? He's just it's all show. Not too close, Randy. Our first trip of the day, but we gotta get out of the road and get moving.
First one of the trip.
First one of the trip.
That's true.
All right.
There's nobody coming.
Ooh, smelly.
What? Oh, yes.
Here, I got some
we have some water.
wipes.
Let's start with water.
Disinfectant wipes. Hold on, let's shut this off.
Well, that was a little garden snake, however you want to call it. Whether they call it garden snake is because they're in the gardens, or they call it a garter snake because it looks like a garter, but it's a real common species. Put on a really good show of how mean it was, but didn't actually ever bite me, just opened his mouth. caught my attention on the side of the road. Take a look at some of the stuff on the side of the road. Got an old house in here. Look at that. Says no trespassing. I thought that was a big snake. Picture yourself sitting on that old porch some 60, 70 years ago, watching people coming through in their cars, if they had it, and horses or buggies or whatever, and enjoying the country life. Mount Gilead Baptist Church. Make sure that you're being respectful of the people who live out here. This would be such an incredibly beautiful place to live. Out here in the country where there's not a whole lot of traffic. So when you go, you see those signs that say slow, 20 miles an hour, children at play. That means there could be kids out here. And because of the lack of traffic out here, they don't even think twice about running out on the road. You can tell the forests that have been planted because of the rows that you see going down. The nice straight rows of trees, those have been planted. I don't know how old those trees are, but when they harvest them, then they replant them with new trees. But they're also harvesting pine straw out of here, so you can see where some of the places it's nice and clear because they rake up the pine straw. A load of pine straw at the golf course I work at, there's a semi-truck full of bales of pine straw, will run you around $3,000. Down here, not too far from the river, is the Rockford Cemetery, established in 1846. There is a fence around it, and there is a gate, but let's go ahead and take a look. I always like to look at a little bit of history here to know the family. 1846. These are some of the people that are out here. 1882 to 1943. Some of them are not very readable because of the old plates that are on there. 1926, 1904. John Martin. Always like to visit some of the graveyards that are really out in the country. Some of these markers are pretty old, and they have been pretty well worn down.
Mount Gilead Road and historical Rocky Ford.
This is the Florida that I grew up with. Country roads, 2 lanes, dirt roads, rural areas, and not a lot of extensive development. Ladies, don't give me that stink eye. You giving me the stink eye? Hey Steve, what's it say on the top of your windshield?
Dusty boogers.
I wonder who gives him dusty boogers all the time.
It's pretty, but I gotta say it's smelly. It's a sulfury smell. Newport Springs is what this is. It feeds into the St. Marks River.
One thing that's important to know about this trip is that you don't need to be in a hurry. If you're going to ride this trail, you can take your time. This monument erected under the authority of an act of legislature of Florida of 1921 to commemorate the victory of the Battle of Natural Bridge, March 6, 1865. We Jeep and we eat. We're at Wakulla Springs area and we have stopped for lunch at Savannah's. And I can tell you a rule of thumb. If there are a lot of cars in the parking lot, then the restaurant's probably good. If the only cars are the chef and the waitress, then probably not so good. But this was a buffet, Southern country. Chicken wings were good. Fried pork chops, how you like that? Good to go. Savannah's. Welcome to Wakulla Springs. To greet us, there's a halo around the sun.
Swamp chestnut seems to be what we were trying to figure out when we were out there in the woods.
Staff member at the front desk. Where's 25?
That's an old-time elevator.
I'm sorry, sir?
25.
25 is down the stairs and second door on your left.
I remember this as a kid. What would a trip to Wakulla Springs be without a boat ride?
And if you say el lagarto really fast, you say alligator. It's just a Spanish phrase that means the lizard. Keep your eyes peeled down into the water for manatee. I told you that Wakulla Springs was the largest freshwater spring in the world, and that makes it a national treasure. He's just about a 3-4 footer. This gator over here's Mama, and she's close by in case these kids make a peep. Those are called whirligig beetles. Whirligig beetles are actually savage predators. If an insect falls into the water, the whirligig beetles will mob it like piranha. Quite a bit of the water that we're floating on right now has taken a couple of years to reach us, flowing through an underground river from as far away as the mountains of North Georgia. Babies, I wouldn't touch it. I'm gonna back up just a second, folks. Okay, folks, I have to box real carefully. Let's see if we can get around this guy. Okay, I have to be extremely careful around manatee.
On the other side, too. Thank you, you were great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, it's your step.
Watch that step.
A trip?
Hope you enjoyed it, though.
I did.
Well, that concludes our boat ride and our Jeep ride. on day 2 of the Panhandle Adventure Trail. We've taken a little extra time to come out to Wakulla Springs. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. We'll see you on day 3. There goes Steve.
Sometimes I find out the road has a spot that you have to just turn around.